Ishvaro Vriksha Shambho Mahadev. Traveling through the sun rays, identification of the brilliance of the Aatman was that we were discussing. Maharshi says in the next mantra, we are introduced to principal subject of this section. The other points mentioned in connection with these nerves are introductory to the main point, which is the theme of the section, namely the departure of the soul after death. When a person becomes old, the physical body and mind loses its consciousness. We call it as degeneration process. With that, the capability of the responding to the activities gets restricted. It becomes more thoughtful, it becomes more compulsive, because most of the emotions, and natural way, there are exceptions to that. In natural way, most of the emotions, most of the sensual pleasures, most of the desires of sensual pleasures, which the Sharira and Mana used to think as happiness, gets dissolved into the truth of self-satisfaction or self-centered satisfaction, which we may think that distraction from the facts, distraction from the world, a sort of isolation. We think that a sort of isolation is taking place. It's a kind of brahmacharyatva enforced on the system actually. There's a natural system, because brahmacharyatva is not only necessary for the purpose of sannyasa, brahmacharyatva is absolutely necessary even for a proper way of disciplined living in the normal living system. Even in a normal living system, whichever methodology of living, without standard of living, whichever karma you are doing, everywhere the principle of brahmacharyatva has to be applied. Unless one lives through this principle of brahmacharyatva, it is not the designed path of living. It is living according to the mind and the indriyas, wherever it takes you to. The mind and indriyas will always take you to the attractive pleasures, and the sensory system will always look for the externalities for the purpose of fulfillment of that pleasure. Such a person who lives in the externalities will not be in a position to observe the austerity which is known as brahmacharyatva, and will be traveling away from the reality of the Atman and cannot distinguish the qualities of the Atman and the disqualification and the inferiority of the inferiority of the mana and the indriyas. Even though the facility of that the current flowing through the nervous system, which has got a subtle fluid which is interlinked with the complete universe, this, even though once in a while it gets evoked in a person, but the attraction and attachment of the indriyas and the mana is so strong, it supersedes the principal living of brahmacharyatva, which is time to time or every moment is reminded to one through this nerve currents. So Bhagavan here mentions that when a person like this, in such a manner, when a person gets, we call it as old, degenerated, mind being withdrawn, not able to, we call it as not able to function normally with respect of the body. But when the mind is compelled by the pranas to withdraw itself into its source, no sensation, no thought, no recognition remains whatsoever. At a point of time, the function of the mind and indriyas gets tired of it, of repeated functions, doesn't satisfy them, or doesn't attain the krama mukti, what we call, or liberation, they get withdrawn. This is called the degeneration process. The constant application of the same type of activities in order to satisfy the mind, in order to attain the liberation, is not achieved through number of years of practice in the life. At that moment of time, when no more the mind is capable and the nervous system or the indriyas are not capable for any more functions as the Atma requires, the prana automatically withdraws the capabilities of mind and indriyas. It has a veto power there at that point of time. We call it as when the fulfillment of karmas are done, or finishing of the time allotted for fulfillment of karmas are done, one of this, whichever comes earlier. The prana withdraws from its source. When the prana withdraws from the source, that is called from mana and the indriyas, body and mind, there is no other way other than the mind to go to absolute numbness. There is no remainance of mind, will not be identified beyond this body. There is no mind after the body is gone. Many people discuss mind as Atma. Many people discuss mind as prana. When a minute analysis and bifurcation is done, we can divide these are into three parts: prana, mana, and the indriyas. The function of the mana and prana, as we have already studied, mana and indriyas are done only by the existence of prana in it. Prana has got its own priorities. Prana has its own whims and fancies, let me put it that way, as to when to come and when to go. There's nobody to control it. When prana sees that the necessity or the requirement that is supposed to be done by the mana and indriyas are not being fulfilled, it takes a unilateral decision of withdrawing from the mana and the indriyas. When the moment prana is withdrawn, no activity of mind, thoughts are no more there. When thoughts are not there, informations are not passed to indriyas, and the expectation or analysis capacity of the mind is also lost when the prana is not there. And the sensations are no more there. This is how the numbness, what we call it as the numbness of the mind and body, takes place. And the prana is released, and according to the memories and other things, udana and all, it goes into the Atma. And depending, as we have explained in the previous chapter, previous class, depending upon the colors that has been provided to the function of the Atma during the present state of Janma, that subtle, fluid, mystical experiences of the nervous system, the mystical experiences of the nervous system, mystical experience of the Atma when it is passing through, all gets reaffirmed through the process of the Brahmacharyatva. And in that process, what happens even when certain activities are done during the process of living, when in a disciplined manner, if a person has been living, even after the Atma or the prana is left the body, Atma is left the body, the process of purification continues, because the nature of the Prakriti or the nature of the Atma is purified. So when a purification process is already on, when a person is departing from this person, means the Atma is departing from this body and mana, this purification process continues, because the purification process in Atma at that point of time is not dependent on the existence of the mana and the sharira. It's absolutely a mystical experience. That's why in the subtle mystical experience that we call. That is why different layers have been pronounced. So that is the fifth layer, suppose I call it. So fifth layer, I told you, there is no rebirth or even it's according to their choice. Above fifth layer, there is no rebirth. The meaning of that is that up to a certain point there is a rebirth, and beyond that, the purification process in the Atma itself takes place. Why? Because it's already on. It's a self-cleaning process that takes place. When a person has already practiced the disciplined way of living, according to what we call as Brahmacharyatam, following those 16 points of Brahmacharyatam followed by a person, he need not to wait till the time everything is completed. Why? Because a certain process of the Brahmacharyatva is attained only after the prana, after the sharira is, prana rejects the sharira and mana. With the existence of sharira and mana, certain things cannot be practiced. Those things will be practiced after they release the Sharira and Mana. If a person had been practicing the method of disciplinary living till that time, then that's called the fifth layer. Whereas where an identification has taken place, then the momentum of that, which is naturally synchronized with the atmosphere, because the qualities of that Atma and the Purusha, which is a Prakriti, is synchronized totally, then an effort by the Atma is no more required. So a karma is not necessary. It's only a momentum that it flows along with that is necessary, and it takes you up. This is why the rebirth is not taking place. In other cases, the rebirth takes place. Here also it is explained through the process of prana. Here, since we are talking about the sorry. Since we are talking about the nerve currents, we are talking about the nadis, certain explanation in a different perspective, also given by Maharshi, is that the fifth shloka. In fifth shloka, Bhagavan says, Atha yatrai tadasmat sharirat dushkamatyatthai teraiva rashmi virudra urdhvaka kramate na om eti va udva miyate saha yavat tichityen manasta vadadityam gachatye tadvai khalu lokadvaram vidusham prabhadanam nirodho avidusham, he said. The person who is now, when his way of departing takes place, O meti ka odva, the prana is supposed to leave through the sushumna, the nadi which is in the middle. For the people who had been practicing the brahmacharya, the disciplined way of living, the right way of thinking, right way of functioning, right way. See, as I told you, brahmacharya has got a great, people have misunderstood it to a great extent, actually, the normal people. When I explained earlier about the brahmacharyatam, I have told this in the chapter of brahmacharyatam. I have explained it very distinctly clear that brahmacharyatam is not only based on certain parameters that which we normally think. Yesterday, day before's class also, certain points I mentioned about it. It's an austerity measure, a great austerity. I have repeated it a number of times. Even Maharshi is eligible to get married. The one who understands the brahmacharyatam. The one who understands the brahmacharyatam is supposed to have children. Abstinence from the continent and continents is not alone the brahmacharyatam. There are all factors are there. It is not only, as I told you, not walking barefoot, shaving the head is not the brahmacharyatam. Brahmacharyatam is that to be following the Brahman. All this I have already explained. I am not going into detail again further on that. A person who had been living in this kind of liberation in the path. There are so many examples in the Puranas given. Raja Janak, who is known as Raja Rishi, even though he is a Raja, he is a king, a very renowned man, and that person is a Rishi. He lives as a Rishi. He executes the Rajakiya karmas, which is supposed to be Rajas, they said. The Rajoguna is supposed to be there in him. For a Brahmachari, the Rajoguna will automatically come when it is necessary. He lives as a Brahmachari. Like that you will find lots of examples that has been given in our Puranas, who lived as a Brahmachari, who executed the functions as they are normally. Bhishma is there, and many others are there. So a person who has already a purified person, who expected attain liberation by progressive stages called the Krama Mukti, such a person, when he passes on, when his Sharira and Mana goes up and departs or being rejected, when the prana leaves from him, all the senses, because I have been absolutely under the austerity measure, so what happens is that everything will assemble, no? Like we got Apana, Samana, Prana, Jnana. Everything will get assembled in its own positions, like the tributaries of the river joins at a major river and then flows together. These tributaries, after functioning depending upon the necessity in different organs, different parts of sensory system, at the point of time having decided to withdraw back, the information is passed on to all the wings of the prana. So they all merge together, and from the apana it moves upwards. Urdhva bhave. Yes. Urdhva, urdhvamakastadeta. When it goes up, we call it as up. Urdhva bhave. It goes up from the apana to the sahasra. When it goes up, it has to travel through, naturally when it happens, because of the discipline of the person, because of his thought process, because of his observance of the brahmacharyatvam, his function, he may appear to be a normal human being externally, but his function inside, internal to him, is equivalent to that Brahman. Such a person, when he leaves the prana from the Sharira, it only goes through the Sushumna. Even though there are 108 nadis, there are thousands of nadis, but out of that, 108 are important, and out of that, 3 are much more important. Sushumna, Ida, Pingala. But through the Sushumna only, when it travels, and when it is passing out through the Sahasra, automatically from him, it may not be physically, it can be internally. But here it has been said, Ometiva Duadom. The Ucharana of Om will automatically come. The person who had been living in the disciplined manner at the time of the prana leaving the Sahasra Chakra, the brightness, I have explained this earlier also, I think, there you can see a brightness. The brightness, because its intensity of the Shakti is definitely different. So there will be a brightness, that brightness is there, plus Om Ucharan will automatically come. It may be audible, it may not be audible to us, that's a different thing. Sometimes it is audible, sometimes it's not audible. But Omedi Ucharanam, that will automatically happen. But for those who had been, because he had been practicing it throughout life, he had been in the Brahmacharyatam throughout life, so automatically this happens. But the others, if they think, okay, while dying I will chant Om, it will not come, because at that point of time, the mind and Indriyas are already withdrawn. Your informative system and memory system is already collapsed. They are no more there. Your intentions will not function there. Your intentions, because your intentions are always Everything is through the mind only. They are so limited. They are absolutely the lowest possible level of that, which cannot rise up to this performance, because that is a time when a revolution takes place inside this system. All those unwanted is by force suppressed, and automatically this rises above. This is what happens. Like a wave comes from the ocean, when you see very powerfully, pushing itself towards the shore. Whatever comes in the way, it's all goes under the ocean, under the wave. Some sort of thing, something like that. A great power. When the Agni, when it bursts up, everything that comes around, no control, everything is destroyed. So nothing can go above that unless it is more powerful. So automatically, that's a system which is not chanted by a person. It is not chanted by a sensory system or a nervous system or an emotion. It automatically happens because that is the universal sound. So synchronizing the brahmachari with the Brahman is always done with that sound of Om, Omkara. So this is the meaning of it. So Krama Mukti. So that people who are following that, such persons chant Om at the time of death. Everyone will not chant Om at this crucial moment. Those who are accustomed to such a practice throughout life, who have led very disciplined life of spiritual contemplation throughout their career on earth, will be able to recollect this practice at the time of passing, when usually the minds get confounded due to the action of the natural forces. This is what I said. Natural forces which are much more natural forces, which are more powerful than your forces, that which was acting, your intentions, that which was acting throughout the body and mind. This gets absolutely subdued without any initiation from any part of the system. It automatically gets subdued, that's all. Because it doesn't have the power to rise above. The desires, attachment, attractions, desires, everything gets subdued. Therefore, those persons who are practicing brahmacharya, for others what happens? For others, how much time does the soul, for others, Vishuddhanam, Prabodhanam, Nirodho, for others, the entry is blocked. The prana leaves through other orifices of the body. It can be going, one is urdhva, one is down. Aroham and avaroham, they said. So one is going down, another is up. There are some other which has got some people, some good practices they make, but somewhere in the midway, they are also stuck with the prana leaving through Ida or Pingala. When it is going to Ida, then he is born again as a spiritual practice, because it goes up to the brain. The Pingala again will come as a normal human or in some other worlds. As I told you in the last class, depending upon the practices one is making, depending upon the thoughts one creates in the mind during the process of their living, depending upon the level of their ignorance, they choose their world automatically in the next Janma. It happens. Nobody is forcing somebody to go to the animal world, or the Sasya world, or to the human world or something like that. They are all a process which is automatic, depending upon the results. So if somebody thinks, no, I will force my way, has never happened. So various things have been explained in Puranas in such a manner that people who had been practicing, they have been born as asuras, they have been born as something. The others, even persons through tapasya and through the yajna, they have forced their way. They have also become Trishangu, neither there nor here. That also has happened. They are all kathas, they are all stories to tell us that, look, this is the condition, what happens. Even a bad experience has happened to Vishwamitra, great Rishi, Tapasvi. We have explained all these things earlier also. Okay. Now, the question is that how much time does the soul, anyway, it's a question, how much time does the soul take to jump into the sun? Because now into the sun in the sense, here what happens, we have told that Surya Patha is very important. I told you that earlier also. And the prana leaves, it should be through the Surya Patha. Choosing of Surya Patha is done not by your intention or by your choice. It's only by your practice of Brahmacharyatam only the choosing of Brahmapada, Surya Patha takes place. The other category takes Chandrapada and many other paths. So in order to attain the Surya Patha, this is an attainment of Surya Patha. As I told you about the filter sometime, if I remember correct, last class. If there is a sieve of mesh of some particular fine measurement, the grains, those are of those measure only can pass through that, you see. It's not a forceful affair. It is not intention of the sieve to sieve only some of them, no. Those who are fitting into the sieve or less than that orifice of the sieve, they pass through that. This is an automatic system. One has to qualify that, that's all. So if you have attained that, it will pass through that. Otherwise it will not pass through. Same way there is a check post in the sun. The ones who had been passing through the Brahmacharyatam and the austerity measures in the strict manner of discipline. Choice is yours. Upanishad or Vedas or Hindu Shastras, one beautiful thing is that he has never enforced anybody to do anything. No. Because it is not for anybody's benefit that is being done. Okay, you join Brahmaloka, the attendants are more. What is the use of having so much of attendance there in Brahmaloka? It's no use. It's not depending upon the attendance, depending upon the ability and quality to dissolve in Brahman. Is that what is required? Such persons are only automatically passes through the path of the Surya Loka, Surya Patha. Through Surya only the Brahmaloka is attained. That's why Surya has got a lot of importance. Rigveda starts with Surya and Agni. Because great importance have been given in the Vedic as everywhere for the Surya, not because it gives the light, not because it gives the life form. No. Surya has got this. These are the functions. What we in the earthlings know about it, that's all. We get warmth and we get, unless this ultraviolet rays are there or the Surya Rashmi is there, the Jiva cannot sustain the Jiva Atmas. Fine. That's not alone the purpose. That is one. Some purpose is also there. That is not alone the purpose. As we discussed in the last class, it also contains that, the subtle liquid form of energy which is connected with the whole universe. Surya Rashmi is there all over. So everywhere, the principle being that everywhere this is interlinked. Each and everything is interlinked. There is no individual things in this universe. Everything is interlinked. So when you gradually, when the Sthula Bhava, when it is looked upon that, we will all find, we explained about the photograph and number of pixels and all that I told you. When it is expanded, you will find each and everything is independent, individual. But when it is put together in Sukshma Bhava, everything is one. There is no individual, first of all. So in Brahmacharyatva, these identities and this realization and this jnanam one attains through the practices. You see, there are so many methods or have been explained in Veda itself. In the Upanishads itself, they said Charvakas are there who are constantly contemplating in a different manner to prove there is Brahman. Let me put it that way. Because when through the process of analysis and discussion and arguing, one gets failed, then he accepts that the Brahman is there. Charvakas are those. Asuras are there through the Asura Pravritti, whether one can attain Brahman. So they have created Asurik Pravartis, they have created Charvakas. Charvakas are again great knowledgeable jnanis, They could discuss things in a absolute minutest manner in order to prove that no, that is not the way, this is the way. How is it possible? For instance, is it necessary to go through Suryapatha in order to attain the Brahmaloka? Suppose the Charvaka discusses that. So a discussion from the Jnanam attains the descriptions of why it is necessary and how it happens. Again, it is not necessity. Once when we call it as necessity, it is nobody's necessity. It's a natural phenomena. Even it is not the necessity of the brahmachari, should remember that. It is not even the necessity of the brahmachari or desire of the brahmachari to attain Brahmaloka. The moment he has a desire of attainment of Brahmaloka, he is not a brahmachari. Got it? So when the Charvaka's discussion that is it necessary to go through the Suryapatha is absolutely proved, that is how the question of necessity comes. It is the path to go. There is a road towards such and such place. One takes that road, you will reach there. If you don't take that road, you don't reach there. Choice is yours. Yes. So one who takes to Suryapatha only can attain Brahmaloka is definite. There is no doubt about it. Because Surya being one of 1001 Manasaputras, Surya is also considered as one of them. Through that only, through the Manasaputras only, there are 1001 Manasaputras. Out of that, later we are coming, about 12 Manasaputras, 108 Manasaputras are there, which are explained further in detail. So, through this way, only one can attain the Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka in the sense, it is again the highest form of the consciousness, higher consciousness. The higher consciousness, in order to attain, there should be no reminiscence of any of the qualities of lower consciousness. It's very clear. Then it is contamination. If it is contamination, it is Trishangu. For some time he stays in they go through the Chandraloka. For some time they live in that pleasant atmosphere, again come back to fulfill their requirement. This is what happens. And I put it in the physical form. Come back and going, all and words which are used only for purpose of explanation. There is no coming back, there is no going, there is nothing like that. It's only transcending, that's all. See. So through the Suryapatha, so why it is necessary. So when it is the current nerve or the current that's passing through the nerve is interlinked with the Surya Rishmis and Surya, unless your current nerve functioning in you, we have described about the colors, various colors. Various colors are various formation depending upon the frequency. When the ray is passing through, scientifically speaking, when the ray is passing through the prism of water, depending upon different frequencies, different colors are produced. So all the colors are there inherent in white, any number of colors. thousands of colors for that matter, even mixture of colors. So depending upon the nerve current that you have, when that is reflecting on your nerve current, it takes the form and shape of that current or that color and starts vibrating at that frequency. It is supposed to have the frequency of the Surya Rashmi or the ray of the sun, then only it can be synchronized with the sun. This is possible only through the practice of Brahmacharya. You got a solution, it's not that he leaves you with a problem. Don't go and cut your nerve and see what is the color of inside. You can't see it. Huh? Because somebody has done it earlier. And I told somebody, because that girl was little, thoda loose tha. वो जाके काट के देखा, hospitalized. Lucky she did not tell my name. So what happened? This color, I am not exaggerating, there was a person here. The synchronization has to take place. And this, as Adi Shankaracharya, the great Guru, great God, incarnation of Lord himself, he said, that is why he said, being in this Sharira, you can attain the Brahman. Sharira is not an obstacle. Sharira will become an obstacle when you think that is important for that. Or you take the help of Sharira for the purpose of attainment of the Brahman. Sharira is there, Sharira will be there, Sharira had been there. The moment your knowledge or your consciousness, from the lower consciousness to higher consciousness, when it appears, when it comes, Sharira doesn't become important. That's why Ichha Mrityu could be done by Bhishma. That's why Adi Shankara could take off his body. Most of the sannyasis, they said, they took even 1 month. Somebody said, I am going into Samadhi. He goes and sits there and he leaves the prana through meditation. Finished. He dies. He intentionally releases the Sharira. There are people, there are so many people, even today people are there, who can intentionally release their Sharira, Ichha Mrityu, what you call it as Ichha Mrityu. They can release the Sharira whenever they want it. So, it is not an obstacle. You should have an option to release the Sharira and you should have the capability to release the Sharira at your will. Then it is not an obstacle, otherwise that is the only obstacle. That's why externality is, they said, and then the body consciousness and the mind consciousness. Unless one removes this, one goes above the consciousness of the body and mind, the Brahmacharyatva is not attained, it is not possible. So he said, how much time does the soul take to jump into the sun? That's why I spoke all this. The question of jumping into the sun doesn't take place at all. No? And if somebody is asking how long does it take from travel from here to the Brahman, how many? 93 million miles is the distance between earth and sun, if I am right. According to what books have been telling. No, I have not measured it. Yes. So much far away, how to reach that? So he said it takes the same time as the mind thinks of any object. So much of time it takes. You are thinking of one object and next moment you are thinking of underworld fantasies, you are there. Immediately above the sky, you are there. That's all. So much time it takes to attain the Brahmaloka, that's all. This is why I have told earlier also, enlightenment takes place only a fraction of a second, not so many years. All other things are what is called as a preparation for that enlightenment. There, finished. That's all. That is enlightenment, yes. That's why it is enlightenment. So the so-called distance between sun and the individual here doesn't make any difference to the soul, because it travels at the fastest speed, or there is no travel at all, because again travel is again a, now we can say travel is again a wrong word to use. The whole universe is one, connected with that nerve current between the Surya Rashmi and the Prakriti and Purusha and the Jivas and all whatever is inside. If everything is one, where is the question of traveling? It's only transcendence. See? During a storm, lot of dust flies. Each and every grain of dust has got its own functions. I have explained this earlier also. Some goes and sits in the leaf, some goes and falls into the ocean, some into the river which flows, some into a tank which stagnates, some somewhere else, some somewhere else. Each one is thinking that they are all different. When they have fallen on that, they have different functions, they are thinking. But at a point of time, when the leaf is vanished, where it is gone, where the dust has gone, again merged into the same universe. So each and everything is interlinked according to them. So the question of time, of traveling between the prana or the Atma into the universe and the sun. Today we are talking about the sun, Surya Patha. So in order to go into the Surya, it doesn't take time at all. It is just a fraction of a second. While sitting, you are there. That's how the Maharishis and Tapasvis could do. By closing their eyes within a fraction of a second, they become in that Brahmaloka, and in that Brahmaloka one could see what all happening, what all going to happen, lots of activities, not like here. Everything can be, only thing can be understood in a fraction of a second, it can be seen, so that he can say that, look, this is what is going to happen after 50,000 years. Immediately he can see. This knowledge, this is only through the highest consciousness. When he lives in the highest consciousness, he should not be affected by the lower consciousness at all. Even though he may be living among this kind of atmosphere, he is not at all affected by them. That's what it is. Even though, that's why Adi Shankara said, even though you are living in the Sharira, you think, you should not have any connection with the Sharira. In the sense, your consciousness should not be in the Sharira. You should not misunderstand the consciousness means not sensation of the Sharira, not sensation of the Mana. It is not that. The consciousness is totally different. There is no word to explain the consciousness. The consciousness is not that feeling the presence of the Sharira. Consciousness is not that feeling the presence of the mind. The mind will be there, let it be there. The Sharira, let it be there. That will be a medium in order to connect with those who are in the lower consciousness. It should be utilized for the purpose of connection with the ones who are in the lower consciousness. Doesn't mean that he will be in lower consciousness. It's not necessary. In a college, a lecturer or a professor, he has been specialized in a subject after doing his PhD in doing things like that. But he might be explaining a small chapter of physics. Doesn't mean that he knows only that, is it not? His knowledge is very vast. But he explains this. He explains this through his intelligence, or through his memory, or through the books, doesn't mean that he only knows this. Same way, when in a Sharira and Mana, it is not that it should be utilized for the purpose of the other things. He has got only that. It is one of the upadhis that he will be utilizing for the purpose of transactions. The sun is the glorious passage to Brahmaloka, the realm of the Creator. This is the entrance of the glorious immortal abode of Brahman. The knowers go there and the unknowers return. The latter will not even be allowed to touch that spot, so the sun is a checkpoint, filtering the souls. The purified ones are allowed to go beyond. Unpurified are kicked back to the earth. He is an entrance to the region of the Brahma to the purified ones, and also a closed door to those who are unprepared for this ascent. In the 6th shloka, Bhagavan says further, here only he says about the nadis, Tadesha shloka. This is the last shloka in this section. Shatam Chaika, Shatam 100, 101. Chayeka, Shatam Chaika. So 101 are the nadis. Hridayasya, Nadyastasam, Nadyasardam, Urdhanam Abhini Sritaika. So to take Urdhva nadis are, Urdhva nadis are, can be considered as 101, even though there are many considered as 101. Tayordhva ayannam amrutatvameti. Amrutatvameti. In order to have the amrutattvam. Vishwanganya utkramane bhavanyutkramane bhavanti iti Shashtha Khandaha. In this mantra, Bhagavan says, 101 are the principal nerve currents in this body. One among these 101 moves vertically, as it were towards the crown of the head. This is known as Sushumna Nadi in yogic language. If our prana and minds can travel through this central nerve's current called the Sushumna and up through the crown of the head, we attain immortality. This is called Krama Mukti, gradual liberation. But if the prana depart not by the central nerve through the crown of the head but through other orifices in the body, then there is rebirth. It may be in this world or it may be in some other lower world according to the particular passage, which means the prana seek at the time of exit. No liberation is possible unless the movement through Sushumna Nadi declared. That's all. Don't look for any shortcuts. Is it possible like this? Is it possible like this? No. Nothing. Well, this has been explained already. I have already told you about this. This chapter is over. Now comes the section 7. In section 7 to practically 15. The 15 sections are there total at the end of it. In all these 8 sections, it is the discussion, or it is the Prajapati's instructions to Indra concerning the real self. It's a study of the real self again. So practically it's a discussion on that analysis of the nature of self. We are introduced to another important aspect of this subject, namely the stages of consciousness. You may call these stages of realization of the Atman, which manifests itself through the conditions known as waking, dream and deep sleep state, a subject which is elaborately discussed in Chhandogya Upanishad. We have discussed this in the Chhandogya. Here also it is discussed in an equally important, interesting manner by means of anecdote which is very famous in the Upanishad. So he put it as like a small story discussion between Indra and Brahma and an Asura. On one occasion, Prajapati made an announcement. He was in his assembly hall. He loudly proclaimed a great truth in the presence of all the people assembled there. All could hear what he spoke. And what did he speak? What was the announcement he made? That is mentioned here in the first shloka. Ya Aatma apahata pampa. Shloka goes like that. The proclamation, this was the proclamation made by the Prajapati. Again here to tell you, Prajapati, who is a Prajapati? The meaning of Prajapati. Praj means those which are born, is Praj. The one who do the Raksha of the Praj is Prajapati. The one who is do the Raksha for the born, not the Devatas. So, the protection of the ones who are born, let it be animal, bird, human, everybody, rishis, tapas, everybody. He is a Prajapati. According to, the Prajapatis are Manasaputras of Brahma again. No others. Prajapatis are Manasaputras of Brahma. 1001 Prajapatis are there. Out of that again, 108 are the Prajapatis who are prominent. Others are leave vacancy. Maharishi Kashyap and his descendants were Prajapatis for a long time because he had a lot of descendants. Is the clarification of Prajapati. So the Prajapati, such Prajapati, so you should know who is a Prajapati who is declaring. Such a Prajapati made an announcement that the announcement was this, that this Atman is free from every kind of evil. It is unaffected by old age or decay of any kind. It has no connection with death. It is free from mortality. Death cannot touch it. It is immortal. It is free from every kind of grief, turmoil, trouble we see in our life. It has no hunger, no thirst. These do not affect it in any manner. Its will is truthful. Its wishes are immediately materialized. All the desires arising from here are immediately fulfilled without any limit of space of time. This Atman is to be investigated into. This Atman is to be known. Whoever investigates into this Atman and knows the nature of this Atman attains all worlds and fulfills all desires. This is the general benefit accruing to the knowers of the Atman, is the declaration made in the assembly hall. So now there was a commotion because this gives all the nothing other than that, because there was the last sentence he spoke was the most attractive, like anywhere. What? Whoever investigates this Atman knows the nature, and this Atman attains all the worlds and fulfills all the desires. That was the point. Otherwise, what should I? आत्मन है कि नहीं, हमको क्या है? ब्रह्मन होगा, जो है तो है, ठीक है, नहीं तो what is it? Why should I know? अरे अपना प्रॉब्लम पड़ा हुआ है, ब्रह्मन का क्या देख? Who wants to know? Suddenly, they were thinking that what is this Prajapati talking. At the end, he is told you can conquer all the worlds and attain all the desires. There, now I have to catch hold of this Brahman. So that, what happened? My problem of not getting XYZ can be solved through this Brahman. And I can sit in the crown with the jewels on that, so that he cannot sit properly. The jewels are there. Thus did Prajapati made an announcement loudly. As it told, everyone heard what was said well. The meaning is very clear. It does not require any much explanation. What is the content of the proclamation of the well-known? It excited the curiosity of many who heard it, actually. The gods, demons, both were there, all were there. Heard the proclamation made in the celestial assembly. Gods hurried back to their homes, held a conference among themselves with the king Indra. As their chief, they said, Brahma has told such and such interesting things. Now Indra, I think we unilaterally select you as a person without any election necessary. Everybody accepts you as the leader. So we select you to go to Brahma and learn the tactics or learn the lessons how to attain this Brahman what he has told. Now because of this we can acquire everything so that our Indraloka will be safe, Devatas will be safe. So we choose you as the chief and deputed him as the representative of Devas to Brahma in order to study this for the purpose of training. Next then, similar was the reaction in the section of Asuras. Asuras also went back and then they assembled. They selected a person called Virochana as the chief of the Asuras. Virochana was a dead enemy of Indra. Okay. So Virochana was chosen for the purpose of this training, deputation. So now both started from their own homes, one from Devaloka, one from Asuraloka, and both traveling. They met in the second sloka. They say that Indra and Virochana met each other in the midway. On the same way they are going, one junction came. From that junction there is only one road. Both have to take the same road. They saw each other. They understood the purpose. This fellow is also going there. But they did not discuss and they did not talk to each other because their enemies followed the path towards the assembly Brahmaloka, Brahman, and they reached there. After having reached there, Brahma is in tapasya. Prajapati is in tapasya. Now you cannot disturb him during tapasya. Now, it's not that anybody can go and just, hey, can I come in? Or I am coming in. Cannot go like that to Prajapati. He will curse you. He has got enormous powers. He's as good as a great Maharshi or Tapasvi. Right? Kashyap means, you can imagine, a very powerful person. So they cannot just go in unless they are called. As soon as they go, naturally the information will go to Prajapati. He will know about it. He intentionally did not call them. So what happened? Both of them, it's a process. The waiting time, when they are waiting for the call from Prajapati, anybody who goes there, they will sit in meditation. Not that, no, that's it, okay. Let's have a small talk on coffee is provided, Prajapati's office. Let's discuss what is happening in Asuraloka and Indraloka. Nothing. Each one goes into their own tapasya, goes in meditation, goes in brahmacharyatva, goes in austerity, and went and did like that for, how many years? 32 years they were waiting there. They waited there for 32 years. After 32 years, next sloka, Bhagavan says, Tauha Dvatashatam Varanasi Brahmacharyam Usadu Tauha Prajapatir Uvacha. After 32 years, Prajapati called them. Now, come in. What's the problem? Why you are, Because what also it indicates that Prajapati is a highly purified, impartial person because he is a Prajapati. I told you what is the meaning of Prajapati. A man who is having his own whims and fancies or partiality or some sort of desires or attainment or attachment, attraction towards anything and anyone, they cannot become a Prajapati. He has to be absolutely godly. All qualities of God should be there in Prajapati. He has to be absolutely pure. So a person who goes to meet him directly has to have complete purification. So the process of purification of austerity of brahmacharyatva has to be followed in order to meet Prajapati. So is why even both of them, the Indra as well as what is his name? Virochana had to undergo this process. Not that he didn't want to see him or he made them unnecessarily wait. No, it's not that. That was not the intention. No. Intention was to get their mind pure because they are coming to me to ask a very important question. In order for them to understand that unless that absolute purity is there, they will not be in a position to understand. So just going for meeting somebody, we say, no, we have to do our homework. What do you want to ask that person? Not that go and gossip and then what you wanted to ask you forgot and whatever did not want to ask you gossip and came back. Prepare a note. Points should be jotted down. So that in our normal, this one also, it is there. That's what I am telling. The homework what we are doing before going to a person is also a process of tapasya only. This is not necessary. This is too small to ask a question to him. So if I am covering up this question, everything gets covered in that. So you should have that, the thought in such a way. Not that wasting time on small unwanted things. So we make it same way. In order to meet Prajapati, who is equally as God, they have to have a purification process. So that took 32 years of purification process, brahmacharyatva in them. Then when they were ready, the moment they were ready, he gets the information. So immediately, come, please come, you are ready now. Not that I am not ready to meet you. Not that I am busy with my tapasya. No. You have to be qualified for getting into this. So they, after 32 years, they went there. Brahma seems to have observed their stay and asked them, what's the matter with you? Why are you staying here for so many years, observing self-discipline? What do you want? Even though he knows, he will not tell. This is the greatest quality of many tapasvis. Anywhere you go, tapasvis, jnanis, first they will ask, what do you want? An asura will do tapasya for 100 years. Vigorous tapasya. When Mahavishnu, Shiva or Brahma, when they appear in presence of them, they will ask, tell me what do you want? He knows very well what is this fellow going to ask, what is he going to do with it, how is he going to die with it, everything he knows already calculated all this time. But still, when they present themselves, they will say what. So you have to tell what you want. Not that, oh, आप तो भगवान शिव है, आप सोचिए हम क्या चाहते हैं, उसके बाद दीजिए नहीं दीजिए, ऐसा नहीं बोलते हैं ना. पूछना पड़ेगा. They'll ask, what do you want? When he says, what do you want? What do you want? Both of them said, we are here for some purpose. What is that purpose? O great Lord, we have heard your great proclamation. You made an announcement that the knower of the Atman fulfills all desires. You see, I told you, this is what these people are up to. Has mastery over all the world. There, second. These are the 2 points. And is unaffected by pains of any kind. OBA. This is not possible. In search of knowledge of the Atman, have we come here. This is the purpose of our visit. And for this reason, it is that we have been living here for 32 years observing austerity. Bhagavan said, oh, that's very good. As much as they had already undergone some discipline, Brahma did not waste any moment of time telling them, go for this way, that way. No. Since having done 32 years of austerity or brahmacharitva, he straightway went into the subject. He gave very pithy and precise instruction. What could be interpreted this way or that way? Which could be interpreted this way or that way? It was like the statement, the Greeks, the Romans shall conquer. There was a word, whether nobody knows whether the Greeks will conquer the Romans or Romans will conquer the Greeks. The word says Greeks, the Romans will conquer. He has put it here, you just take it. So the next sloka Bhagavan says, that being which you... So he says, what is Atman? Now, let us straightforward tell you the answer. Okay? Take it. That being which you see in your eyes is Atman, said Prajapati. That being which you see in your eyes is Atman. It was a very strange statement indeed, no doubt about it, we all know it. This was all the instruction. There was no further explanation whatsoever. He is right in what he said, but it can be very easily misconstrued. That Purusha, that being that you see in your eyes, that is Atman, he further said. Then he said, are you satisfied? He asked, I have given you an initiation. This is the immortal, this is abode of the fearlessness, and this is the absolute. And with that, you can get everything. Immediately the whole instruction was misconstrued by both disciples, just as any one of us would have done. They at once came to the same conclusion regarding the reflection seen in the eye. Now he says that one is that we'll not go into the details of it. Details in the sense, will give you the substance of it. They discuss what can be seen by the eye, that I can see this, I can see this, I can see this. I can see the Sharira. So ultimately, they decided that, then they asked again, that which is reflected in the mirror is also Atman? Is asking. No. They were so happy the Atman is so easy to reach, so they want to get the instruction confirmed by asking which is the Atman. That seen as reflected in the water or seen reflected in the mirror, is that also Atman? Is it true? They queried Brahma, and his answer was very simple. He said, it is seen in every kind of reflection. He said, it is seen in every kind of reflection. Well, then this, as we also do this, that's all TK. Well, is it reflected in water? That is the Brahman or not? Yes, he said, in water also. Is it reflected in mirror? In mirror also. It is reflected. Then he also added, it is reflected everywhere. Then why you are asking water, this, that, mirror and all that? A very short instruction and both were very happy. Disciple felt that they had known the Atman. Actually, teacher must have felt pity for the ignorance of these disciples who immediately misunderstood the whole teaching and thought that physical body could be the Atman, because body can be reflected in mirror, body can be reflected in water. That's why they wanted to ask. They want that their answer should be confirmed by, this is what we want to do. You predetermine what you want, then you ask the question. See, if it is told, बहुत अच्छा आदमी है, तो वो कुछ नहीं जानते. हम ये पूछा था. He doesn't know anything. That means this I have already described. You see. Questioning the Guru, they said. That was a chapter when I told about it, the questioning. To clarify the doubt or to know whether he knows it or not. So this is something like that. So, what else can be reflected if not an external object is what their contention. Both were convinced, jumping out of that. After the long years of experience, they were traveled back. Now, when they were going back, now Brahma said, please go and look at yourself in the pan of water. See what is there. If you cannot understand anything about the Atman, then let me know. They went and saw themselves in the pan of water. The Brahma asked them, what do you see? They immediately gave the answer. Up to the hair and the nails, everything that we are, we see exactly reflected in this water. This is what we see. We see ourselves as we are. So next two shlokas, second and third, Brahma said, this is the Atman. If that is what you are seeing, that's the Atman. Now what Brahma said was highly significant, but the mystery behind the instruction was so deep that it was again grossly misunderstood. The way he told is some catch in it. If that is what you are seeing inside, that must be the Brahma. Okay, you are satisfied. Whatever we see is God. That is generally what we say. It's a true statement, no doubt, but it's also an untrue statement. The untrue aspect, as it does, simply take us astray. But the true aspect, as it will of course liberate us from the bondage. So is the instruction of Brahma. What you see in your eyes is the Brahman. What you see in the reflection is Atman. This is Atman. This is fearless abode. This is the absolute. So they were told about that. They saw as their reflections. Happy, composed in heart, both the students went back thinking that they have known the Atman. But when they had gone out of sight, Prajapati thought, what a pity, the students have understood nothing from me. They have mistaken my teachings completely. They are thinking that their own body is Atman, and if anyone is considered this body as Atman and regard it as ultimate reality and teach others as doctrine of this material body is Atman, it will not succeed. Those who follow this doctrine are going to be defeated everywhere. Virochana went to the demons, said, I have got complete instructions. This is what it is. Wherever it reflects, that is Atman. But the next shloka says, in the fifth shloka says, Indra, he was while walking back, he started thinking. How is it possible? Once they say Devata, and so he started thinking. See that Brahman is everywhere. Brahman is all over. Brahman cannot be seen, but he says that it can be seen. And he says that it is reflected everywhere. In all the reflections it is there. If there is a reflection, there has to be something. If there has to be something, that has to be seen. If it has to be seen by the eyes, cannot be Brahman. Because Brahman is all over. All over cannot be composed to one point. He had great doubt on that. Something missing somewhere, some missing link somewhere. Halfway, Indra came back. Indra feels the inadequacy of the physical theory, comes back, section 9. He only comes back. Virojana happily gone. Ho gaya training. You see. Seminar is over. Khaya piya. Seminar is over. Workshop is done. Indra was not happy, came back. So he again came back. Indra had great sorrow and fear in his heart. He said, if I am well dressed, the Atman is also well dressed. He started contemplating. If the body is blind, the Atman is blind. The body is crippled, Atman is crippled. Like that. He started contemplating. So he came back, again with humble offering to Brahman. Indra went to Brahma with the discomfort, doubts. His doubts were that the Atman cannot be the visible body or anything visible whatsoever, because everything that is visible is physical in nature and is characterized by the defects of everything that is physical. So Prajapati questioned Indra regarding his doubts. You went satisfied, and now what makes you come back? Hey, great master, how can we regard this body as the Atman when it is subject to these defects? If this body is blind, Atman become blind. Body is diseased, Atman is diseased. Body dies, Atman also die. So what is Atman then? For these reasons, the reflection cannot be Atman. I have great doubts. I have come to you for further clarification. Perhaps I have misconstrued your teaching. I am having knowledge of perishable Atman and his truth of this matter. Please initiate me further. So Bhagavan said, no problem. Well, I shall speak to you again. But live here a life of austerity for another 32 years. Every session is 32 years. Another 32 years after that I shall speak to you. Brahma went back. He started. 32 years started. Already passed. Again another 32 years, self-control, aspiration. Prajapati Indra was happy. So he says, what is reflected in the eye or reflected in the water may not be the Atman for the reason you have already mentioned, said Prajapati. Now I introduce you into greater reality, which is unaffected by the conditions of the physical body. What is unaffected by the conditions? That has to be regarded as Atman, because if the doubt is that the Atman about the instructions has been received, the physical body, naturally that which is not so affected should be regarded as Atman. In the next section, Indra is introduced to an experience which is not conditioned by the characteristics of the physical characteristics. Then he said, Prajapati now said, that which you see in the state of dream is Atman. That is Brahman about which I am going to speak to you. Now, that being which rejoices and is happy in the state of dream is Atman, which is fearless, which is immortal. This is reality about which I have spoken earlier and into which you seek initiation. Yes, this must be so, he thought, and went back. Correct. In the dream, if you see something, that cannot be destroyed. It is there, it cannot be like that. So he was happy and went back. Again, midway, he said, how is it possible? Like this, it goes on. So a few questions about five. Now, from next onwards, we will only tell the answer only, so that you know the process now, how it is. So that's why I just read it, so that reading, say his language, so it makes it more impressive. And so from the next, that is section 10, 3 and 4 slokas, we'll discuss next one. So like this it goes on for some time. So he touches all the points. One, he said body is the Atman. It's not wrong. But they thought body is alone Atman. See, now the description has to be there. Don't think the Brahma has given a wrong instruction. No. That which can be seen, what he said? That which can be seen by the eye has not been told by him. He said that which can be seen in the eye of yours is Brahman, he said. See, these are the catches. That's why I did not tell you. I thought I will discuss this later. In the eye is Brahman. Not by the eye, that which can be seen by the eye. Reflections in the mirror, in the water. The reflections are Brahman. He did not say your body's reflection is Brahman. Reflection is Brahman. They thought it's the body which is seen in reflection, so is it Brahman? So Brahma said, that also is Brahman. Body is also Brahman. Because without Brahman, nothing is possible. Brahmam Khalvidam, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahmam. Even the body, that's why he said, that also is Brahman. Body is also Brahman. He is not wrong by that. They should have understood in the much deeper sense. So he comes. Then he says, now he goes into not in the physical level, but he goes into the other level of it. So he said, that what you see in the dream is Brahman. In the Sushupta Avastha or in the Swapna Avastha, what you see is Brahman. How do you see Swapna? And how do you see Sushupti? How do you experience Sushupti? This is what the description is, that even in Sushupti, the Brahman is prevalent in you. That is why you are having the Sushupta Avastha. Why you are having different avasthas? Because you have not recognized the Brahman in you is why you have got different avasthas. They are different avasthas. They are not permanent. Avastha means only temporary time. No, for some time it is an avastha. Dukkha avastha, sukha avastha, kashta avastha. They are all avasthas. That means there is a duration for that. So Swapna avastha, there is a duration. Sushupta avastha, there is a duration. These changes of duration, why is it happening? Because you have not understood the Brahman in the right manner. The reflection of the Brahman that is there in you have not been understood. So you travel through different avasthas and trying to find out the same Brahman which is always there. But you identify him in different ways. Looking in the Swapna avastha, looking in the Jagrata avastha, looking in the Sushupta avastha. So that is what. But is it not Brahman? That is also Brahman. Yes. Like that it goes. Now, we will describe the next ones later. So 10.3 will be the next. 3 and 4. Om